Hi, everybody. I want you to welcome Mia. And I did a salon with her, and we've had another video as well, but she's a disruptor, which I love. And so we're kind of changing the world right now. So this is a thing that we want to talk about is all the ways that we're disrupting the world to change what comes next. So to make it better. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's
Thank you.
let's talk about that.
Thank you so much, Honey. And I'm so happy that you think of me as a disruptor. I love that. It's really fun and exciting to kind of see things through that lens. And yeah, that's just really what I'm excited about right now. And when I really feel into all the energies, it's like, oh my gosh, so much stuff coming through. And I think for anybody who's like, well, how's it going to turn out? It's like, I think it's helpful for me to just tune back to like when my friend and I started our company, Mercado Sagrado, in 2014. It really came out of a few years of like ruminating over just like dissatisfaction and, a lot of things that I wanted to see better in the world. And then it turned into kind of like, be the change you want to be, and us kind of being like, well, let's just do what inspires us. And so for me, that was leaving really kind of a job in professional photography, where I thought for a while I wanted to be, a fashion photographer and work as a commercial photographer in the art world. And there were a lot of things I wasn't inspired or happy with there, and things that just felt negative and I didn't want to support. So that led me to kind of like, ultimately, when I look back, it's like, oh, just using those skills in a different way, and then supporting other people doing kind of being they're disruptors as well. So back then it was like, I mean, you know, people that were in fashion and were feeling the same way. So they started thinking like, well, how can I, do my company, but only with maybe like natural fibers, and how do I source like organic linen or hemp or cotton or things like that. And so to look back and see from there where we've got now, where really in the beginning it was even kind of a challenge for us to curate our events with those kinds of conscious makers, because there just weren't that many yet really doing that. But it's just exploded. So now that's becoming, trendy, and the fashion industry is almost like, sure, there's greenwashing, but really a lot of people really are tuned in and now caring, are looking for how to make what they're doing, better for the planet and higher vibe. And
Mhm.
so to just see how much that's changed, and then to feel into right now, like, wow, there's like, we're on the cusp, we're already the beginning of this other huge sea change, where it's even more about energy and people understanding that we're energy and that we're creating this together, and to start visualizing that, and more of like a mental, emotional intelligence thing. And that's just so exciting because I can feel that it's the same thing that's going to happen that happened in the last decade. It's going to be just an explosion,
Yeah,
right?
it will. This decade is
Yeah.
going to be massive. Like the changes that happen in this decade, I feel like it's going to be like 100 years worth of change in one decade. It's going to be massive. And you can kind of see how people are extricating themselves from the workforce right now. Like they just quit. They're just like, I'm done. And sometimes they don't give any notice, like they're just gone. And it's like the change, they have to change or it's gonna wreck them, basically. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, we've just seen so much of that. And I think it's great,
Yeah.
really.
It's so huge. And that's something, yeah, totally inspired me for what you said, because we talked about that. We just had this event in California, and we had a little panel talk there, and where with Jessica, she's on Instagram as House and Habit. She's got a huge following, and she's just really on this awakening journey with her people she's bringing along, and it's amazing. Then Jay Dyer, who writes these esoteric Hollywood books, and it's just an
Mm.
amazing the
Oh yeah,
wealth of
nice.
information, social engineering and culture creation. And then Jenna Cavello, who is in clean beauty, and she has a company called Agent Nature. And so they're all just thought disruptors in their industry, and really went through the fire, because what they were doing was so leading edge. They you know, a lot of people didn't understand or were really mean to them, but they're
Yeah.
all just thriving. And something that came up from Jenna was like, she told her story of how she had some really serious health stuff. I think endometriosis. Did I say that right? And some
Yeah,
other things.
you did.
And and but she was going through a you know, kind of this process of like just feeling that it was really time for her to start speaking her truth, and that how scary that was. But she knew she had hit that wall, and that it was related to her health. And so breaking through that and just deciding to be, you know, live in her authenticity and do what she believed in and talk about what she believed in, even if people didn't agree to it, was gonna help heal her. And it did. And I mean, it's just so powerful because her business is thriving, she's thriving. And so I think so important that and a lot of people I think now are, yes, maybe starting on that journey of like, yeah, maybe sick or maybe just unhappy, and having, you know, it's like so important to take that, sit with that and use that almost as an inspiration or for a catalyst to like what is spirit telling you would
Yeah.
help shift that or light you up or just be way more fun than where you are, you know?
Right. Be fun, be yourself. I think that's the thing. Like people are ready to actually be themselves now. Whereas before you were always trying to like mold yourself to how do I act in this like setting or whatever. And nobody's interested in doing that anymore.
No,
So,
and it's so exciting. Yeah, it feels
oh,
like
it's
there's
so
like a
good.
huge shift within the collective, right? Where it's like it's not even as scary to do that anymore. It's just the energy is shifting, and it feels like this more receptive to that, right?
Mhm.
And where a lot of these people, like in our kind of initial community, like really had it was heavy for them to pop through that portal, but they did, and now there's a lot of people that are kind of like, you know, like you too, kind of like the leaders in that and way showers, and like, okay, come on, it's way more fun over here. Just it takes a
It's
little
so
bit of
much more
uncomfortableness,
fun.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Not have that burden of all that programming too. Like they're letting go of it almost like that character in Charlie Brown, the dusty one. What was his name? Pigpen. Yeah, it's like all
yes.
that programming is like flying away, you know. It's really, really
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and it feels so much better. And it's just with like at this particular event, I felt this shift because we've never really had a talk where with people really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of all that, and also got to talk about what's happened in the last few years and the discomfort around that, and being the one standing out, sticking their neck out to like say what they really thought about things, and but how
Yeah.
fulfilling that's been. And also it's so exciting how open the audience was to that. There was such a good turnout for this talk, and I think especially California has really been through it, and there's been a lot of heavy programming there, a lot of fear, and so it felt like there was a real energetic breakthrough of like, okay, we're ready ready to get to the other side of this.
Yeah. Yeah, California, I honestly think that has probably been the hardest place to be in. Maybe New York
Yeah,
City has been pretty tough too, but
I
yeah.
think both really. And I mean, I don't know you got, but when a lot was going on, I feel like that was being they were being targeted energetically.
Oh yeah.
It felt icky to me, and I it's kind of when I more and I was going back and forth a lot to California because my work until then had really primarily been in California, but I was living more on the Big Island, and I just it didn't even feel right to go back, and I kept trying to create experiences or events there even during those few years, but they kept getting blocked. It was just like, nope, nope, not time yet. So
Yeah.
um
I think people were too deep into fear to pop out of that. And now they've kind of had it. So either they're still kind of following the program or they're like, we're done with that program. Like there's so many people that have become very disgusted by it. And I think it's more than ever before that are waking up. Like we're getting
yeah,
close to that 30%. Like we really are.
Yeah, I feel it totally. It's so exciting. Just the questions people were asking after the talk were so inspiring and from pretty young people.
Yeah.
And then I could see how excited Jay was that there were so many people at this talk because it's just a sea change. He's been talking about, culture creation, and he also talks about philosophy and theology, but he's been espionage talking about this stuff for years. And so to see in his face, like, wow, people, there's a shift, people are showing up for this in a new way, I could tell how excited he was, and that just felt really good. Yeah, it feels like it's really it's happening, it's very real and
Yeah.
potent, and feel it.
It really is. It's happening. The universe has changed. Like all the energetics are changed at this point. And we shifted again a couple days ago. So it's
I've
good.
been seeing so many. Okay, I've been seeing so many rainbows the last couple of days, and
Yeah.
I even saw one of those round rainbows. I've never seen that before, honey. Is that like a new thing? In this, it's because I never had seen that before, and I didn't know if it's just I hadn't seen it or if it's actually the energetics are different, so now we can see it.
I've seen only one in my lifetime. And I think the energetics have changed. Yeah. So mine was in the middle of the sky, like it was up there and like it surrounded a cloud. And it was amazing. I wish I was a kid. So, I mean, that was probably like 40 years ago that I saw that thing. Yeah. So that's how rare it is. But I don't know. I don't think it's
Yeah,
going to be that rare anymore.
that's kind of what I got too. Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing tons of rainbows. I saw the round one. It was like the ocean was kind of like spraying. It was just this right there, just this round. I've never seen that before. It was so beautiful.
Wow.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
and then
That's such a good sign. Really good sign.
yeah,
Yeah. Rainbows are, and I've noticed that like if you're asking for a sign, a rainbow is a really good one that shows up. And it always shows you, just like the angel numbers, like that you're on the right track. Yeah. Because they're
I love
full of
that.
frequency.
It's just kind of like a yeah. I've had that. I've had some really special rainbows show up when I asked them questions. Yes, that's so beautiful. And I don't know about you, but I've been seeing I mean, for a while now, like the angel numbers just everywhere, everywhere, just like in the funniest places.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Constant angel numbers. I have one person in my life who's had a hard time just recently. And every day they're like, I've seen this number and this number and this number. I said, well, you're on the right track then. It's working out. Yeah, which is so true. Like things are actually starting to gel right now. It's beautiful to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And I know that you're tuned into the financial system that's coming too. And it feels like it's just right there. And, my friends that are tuned to that too are kind of just reminding me like, this is the time we want to be visualizing like like what's on the other side and starting to what maybe integrate that feeling of like having more than enough and that not being an energetic anymore, like really dropping that scarcity and like, what do we want to create and how for our lives or our, how can we think of business even in even a new way, because even with what I've been doing it's expansive, and then we're trying to make it as expansive, but we've still been in certain, it's been really tough too, because when you're
Yeah.
really holding to these ideals, you're like not taking money from a sponsor that's not aligned, you're really having to kind of manifest it through, and it's like, what would that look like if money isn't it's not a thing anymore, and we could do an event for free for everybody, or just what else, like what should we, what
Yeah,
can
or
we just
just
visualize?
donation based or something. Yeah, everything. There will still be an energy exchange, and that's really kind of one of the new laws of the universe, because otherwise there's a hierarchy, which we really can't have anymore. But that doesn't mean it has to be money. It can be all kinds of things. And I think probably money after the 2030 mark is going to be less and less important. So we'll have a flash of money's really important and we're creating the foundation for the future. And then it'll be like, well, I got all this money in the bank and I don't do anything with it, because I don't need it for anything. So we're going to get to that point where the only time we spend money is maybe, I don't know, to go to a restaurant or something. But otherwise, we're just exchanging stuff all the time.
I love that. And I think that just feeds right back into like, yeah, those of us who've really been forging his path and really trying to fill into that. It's like we were talking about before, living off grid, or living when you live rurally or in certain ways, and even with the artists you work with, it's like there's a lot of barter,
Mhm.
um, we have
Yeah.
a lot of coconuts, we have a lot of fruit on our land. We trade with our friends, or trade services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband's going to unload hay this weekend for somebody, the next door neighbor. They've, paid to borrow the backhoe, like all that kind of stuff. It's all the neighbors are kind of getting together and doing different things. And when you're off grid, you learn how to manage the power. Like we can't run the air conditioner at night. There's all these things that you have to learn when you're off grid, but it really is freeing because there's almost no bills, really, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what is so special and interesting about just starting to put the attention more on those kind of things, because it's like with everything, it's like even with the body, it's like we're meant to be more tuned in and more present and paying attention to like you always talk about, honey, like how do I feel today? What does my body want to eat? Is this good for me? Is not? And then it extends to everything, like what am I wearing? Does this feel good? And what does my house
Mhm.
feel like? Is this even the kind of house they want to live in? Do we want to change things or build? Where I live, it's pretty free. People can actually build without permits. So people have these creative, amazing, so my friends have
Nice.
these really magical art houses that they've made themselves, and from really cheaply too, from salvaged materials or trade. People hold on to old roofing, things like that, barter with things like that. But then also, yeah, with the I have to do the same thing with power. It's like you really have to tune into what everything needs or wants. It's all alive basically. So it's
Yeah,
kind of a new way of being,
it really
in
is
a
because
sense.
it's all energy. So, and honoring that too, even if it looks like an inanimate object, like it's a rock, even if it looks like a rock, it still has energy. It just moves slower than you do.
Yeah, I love
So,
that. I mean, I talk to my car and appreciate my car, all the
yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Imagine.
I named my car. My husband was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have to name it." Okay.
What's your car's name?
Phoenix is
Mine's
my
fun.
newest car's name. Yeah.
My truck's name is Blanca, and like I'm like I don't even know where that name came from. It's so funny to me, but that
I
was
think they pick
that
it
was.
just like your kids pick their name.
I
I
feel
think
like
they
that
pick it.
too.
Yeah,
I think so too.
it's funny.
I love.
Yeah. I I don't know. I think really right now we're on the cusp of massive creativity, and everything is going to be looked at as how is this healthy? How is this sustainable for the world? Um, and mainly just letting go of chemicals. Like, I don't really feel
Mhm.
like there's much else that's a big, big deal, but the chemicals are really not okay for Mother Earth, and plastic, not okay, those kind of things. But a lot of the other stuff, it's not actually as harmful as they say. Like, it's okay to have a car that takes gas. That's okay, at this point. And we actually
I
have,
feel the same.
yeah. So it's really, most of it is the chemical stuff that is on the earth that's being sprayed around that needs to stop. Yep.
I 100% agree. Like the glyphosate and the Roundup and things like that. And I do even see some
Mhm.
movement with that because it's a huge thing, obviously in Hawaii because of the GMOs and all of that. But I I need to look into it, but I just saw something that the state is going to stop using Roundup for what I took it as for like all of their land greater state land care. But that's huge because
That's
you'll see you
huge.
drive around the neighborhood white and people write their own signs that say no spray because otherwise they go around all the streets and they've been just spraying those chemicals. So that's huge. I mean, people have been asking for that, especially here for a very long time. So it was really exciting to see that begin
That's
to
fantastic.
just to begin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's so toxic. I grew up in a canyon that was surrounded by wheat fields and they were constantly spraying. And every spring I would be in the hospital because of the Roundup and all the stuff that was coming down. And I think it got into the water supply too, I'm pretty sure. But it's just
Yeah.
really interesting how all this stuff is unfolding and people are starting to just say no.
Yeah, yeah, it's really starting to shift, and I just feel like I've paying attention for years. It seems like all of the solutions are already right there. They've just been blocked. So I always explain to people like the earth knows how to heal itself, and all the solutions are right there. These really amazing creative solutions. Like I remember when there was that big oil spill off the coast of Florida, and there was a group that said like, well, mycelium, we can put these mycelium mushrooms in the ocean and it will eat up all of the oil. And at that time they said like, no, 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 we're just gonna put more toxic chemicals on it. We got this, which of course is going to make it way worse than just the oil. But the point being is that those solutions are all there. So once
Yeah,
there's not an entity blocking it, whatever you want to call that entity, then it just
right.
seems like everything is going to harmonize so quickly. And I don't know if you get anything on that, honey, but
Yeah,
that's kind of
everything's
how I.
there. So there's lots and lots of patents as well that have been hidden, and those were released, I think, last year. So people are
Wow.
actually have gaining access to them at this point. Some of them are really, really old. All the
Hmm.
stuff that used to exist is now being revealed again, like Tartarian free energy and how it's important to have the right fabric to be,
Hmm.
living in. Yeah, so organic
Yeah,
cotton,
it's all,
linen, hemp.
all coming out. Yeah, and that's just one thing where that's what I love to do is find the people making really beautiful things like that. And so I actually brought well, the shirt I'm wearing, it's by somebody, an artist we work with for at the event who's come before, and it's plant dyes on organic cotton, and I thought it was so beautiful what they do. And then
Mhm.
this is like kind of hard to see, but it's like a wrap, and it's hemp with indigo dye, and the woman who makes these Nikki and her company is Lookout and Wonderland. And she's been doing this for years. She makes curtains, so she makes like home things for the home as well. And her partner's Japanese, and she's just always been interested in that culture. So she's gone on trips to Japan to learn the old way of dyeing the indigo, and it's just so
Oh, it's
beautiful. But there's
gorgeous.
yeah, there's so many cool people just starting to really make their whole focus the bringing back these high vibe natural fibers. um
Yeah.
I mean, it's like exciting because I can see there's in all, in the food, in the clothing, in the beauty, in the like all kind of aspects of life. There are already people are really um leading the charge basically and already creating these things for us that are much
Yeah.
higher frequency. Yeah.
They're just stepping up. I feel like people are stepping up. They're stepping into who they really are and they're helping with everything and they're changing things. And also, people who are on the cusp of doing it anyway, they're now able to actually get it to work out. Like it's not being pushed down as much as it was because we're in this funny little transition time where we think things are one way, but actually they're another way. Um, so all the lies are being revealed, basically. But it's just such a massive change that we're coming into. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, I wake up every day and I'm so excited to see what's happening and we'll call, the movie, because it's kind of things that a lot of us have been tuned into and praying for such a long time. And it's so exciting to see them being, talked about openly. I mean,
It
it's just
is.
amazing.
Yeah. I remember watching this movie. I think it was called Zeitgeist, and somebody had introduced me to it. And I was raised as a hippie kid and all this kind of stuff. But when I watched that movie, I was like, oh, that's what's really going on. Because it really clues you into what's going on in the background or what had been going on. And now we're in a whole new thing where it's funny. There's a movie called Midnight. I'll look it up, but Midnight something. And the executive producer, is the same one who I believe is producing this movie that we're in right now. So I'll look that up. But
oh my gosh. Well, I just recently watched I can't believe I'd never seen this movie before. I really part of why I became a photographer originally was because I love film so much, but I'd never seen Wag the Dog. And I was like, okay, I think I need to watch, just kept getting a ping, I need to watch Wag the Dog. So I watched it like 2 weeks ago and I was just blown away that, oh my God, it shows literally what we've been living through, right? If you guys haven't seen it, it's a really good, it's like an enjoyable, well-made movie to watch. But wow, it just shows what you're talking about, like how they're directing the movie that we see as sort of our reality via the media. And it's like mind-blowing.
It's amazing. So this is the movie, and I mentioned it this morning, Midnight Special. And one of the teachers actually mentioned it to me. And not only does it show you the difference of like how somebody is ascending and they're collecting all that light is within them, their DNA has changed, but also it shows you what you're capable of. Like basically you're capable of going into the next level, and nobody can see you in the level that you were in anymore. So it was just such a good movie. So I highly recommend that one too.
Oh my gosh, is that an old one or a new one?
It's kind of old, yeah. So
Wow.
you can rent it on Amazon. But it was $6, so I just bought one,
I gotta see it. Oh, I can't wait. I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just really, and also the new shows that are coming out are so amazing. And they don't have the same, what do you call it? Like the same frequency weirdness where you're just like sucked in. You're actually seeing it and discerning things as you go. Like, is this true? Is that not true? Oh my God, they just showed us that. It's just like show after show is like that.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I feel like we need a list of what would
I
be
know.
fun to watch.
I don't have time to watch much, but I'm just like, oh my God, they just showed us all of that. Yeah, so it's really good.
It's true, because even I don't really either, but I love it. So when I can, it's so fun, but I don't watch that much stuff. But even just like something like Outlander, which I did watch recently, and like the
Yeah.
time the portals in there, and I was like, and even the stones going, how they have to have a stone going through the portal. I was like, that feels like disclosure. That's really,
Yeah.
it feels,
Yeah, if
you
you
know,
think about it, a crystal is an amplifier.
mm-hmm.
So they're a living being as well. Like a crystal is a living being and it contains all this energy, but it also amplifies energy. And you can direct that energy with it. Just like somebody who lays somebody down and then puts all the rocks on their chakras. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving that frequency to them.
That makes so much sense. I
Yeah,
was like,
I know.
amazing.
It's fun.
On that. On that note, like, do you feel like we're gonna get bilocators anytime soon, honey, or do we have to wait a while for that? We probably have to wait a while for that one.
I'm getting it'll be after 2030. We have
All
to
right,
learn
well,
how to do that too. Like there were portals that like you definitely would not want to go into. I don't know if you've felt any near you, but we had like I think there was two, but they're just down the road and I would stop there and I would just be like, "Ooh, I feel sick,"
wow.
you know? Because there was a portal right there and I didn't want to get too close to it. Like it just felt nauseating. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's so interesting. So do you think there's a process of those being harmonized, or we'll just know where those are in the future and kind of know to avoid
Yeah,
them?
I think we'll understand them better. And also, I feel like there'll be more people that kind of can say, oh, there's a portal over there. This is where it goes. Or it'd be great to have road signs.
Yes, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, this portal leads to Paris.
Please, yes.
But yeah, that's in the future for sure.
Well, we
Yeah.
gotta have things to look forward to. That's very exciting. As I was saying, I'm a little over the airplane thing, so I'm excited about the
Yeah.
trains. That sounds amazing, and ultimately really excited about the portal or the bilocator. So bring it on.
Yeah, and I honestly think that they'll have some kind of I don't know if it'll be a blimp, honestly, but something that is a very fast traveler through the air at some point. And we'll also have the flying cars, which are already being made, which I can't even tell you how excited I was by that.
That's so. I saw that. It's
Yeah.
already out there in the news. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. The hydrogen cars and I saw the flying cars. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. And I know about that. Yeah, that's amazing.
So fun. I was like, it's real. Yay. It's coming. Yeah. So it's just been really exciting to watch things unfold over the last probably 6 months. I feel like it's
Mhm.
getting better and better. And now we're moving into a more smooth, energetic area just over the last few days. And that's really helped too, because it was getting felt kind of pinched, kind of intense right there. Yeah.
I definitely felt that. Everybody I know has felt that. Yeah, it was very intense for a minute, and had to rest a lot. And
Mhm. Yeah.
but
It was good that we got through it though. I don't feel like the purging will be quite as painful as we go forward. There's still more to do, but I don't feel like it's going to hurt as much. So that's really good. Yeah. But
amazing.
yeah,
Um,
I'm just looking forward to the future and also just loving whatever you're doing right now. Make sure you're honoring your now as well.
yeah, yeah, totally. I think that's so important, and that's kind of even through this last period of stickiness. It's kind of like, okay, I just need to remember to slow down, because if I slow down and think about like, well, when do things really flow the best for me? It's like when I just stop trying to shift that, even just kind of sit with that and surrender to that and be like, what do I need right now? Okay, I was really busy getting ready for that event, but it was during that sticky period, and it was really challenging me, because I was like, I need to write this whole thing right now, and I don't feel like writing. So I just sit there, for a while and feel blocked. And then I was like, okay, I just need to go to the ocean. So we go to the ocean and spend a couple hours, 2-3 hours, and do nothing really, just commune with the elements, which in a former me would have been like, oh, I'm being lazy or avoidant or procrastinating. But now I just can feel like, no, that's how the energy shifts, and then I'll get nourished. And then like I came without even the intention, just knowing I needed to do that to feel good, then came back and then got an inspiration and wrote this whole thing that I needed to write in like 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
just trying to remember like, okay, just be really present and pay attention to like feels good, because time in that way is sort of an illusion. And you could spend all day trying to do something, or go feel good and then have it just click in whatever needs to be done fast. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it really does work that way now. And even if you have no
yeah,
idea how you're going to get it done, like there's a few techie things that I've had to do lately, and I'm like, I don't really know how to do this. And I go in there and I ask for guidance, and it actually works. You know, like you can do a lot just with your intuition. It's very cool.
totally. I've been playing with that a lot too, with just like, okay, so if the frequency of a problem or a question is different than the frequency of the solution, how can I put out kind of what I need or what I'm asking for, and then just like shift the energy so it can come through. It works. It's fun to do with things that I lose. So if I lose something, I just get into that mode right away, and I always find it really easy. It'll just show back up. And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, if it works for that, then how can I be using it for more complex problems too? So it's trying to do what you're saying, like, okay, I asked for this solution, and then just kind of stop, not worry, basically it's stopping worrying about it and ruminating over it. Just let it go, and then the answer will kind of come through pretty
Yeah.
quickly now. Yeah,
That's manifestation. We're just going to get better and better at it. I love it.
yay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's
um
beautiful. Thank you,
yeah,
Mia. This was amazing. And I can't wait to keep talking because there's a lot of great things that you're doing as you gather all these people together that are going to be happening in the future. Like you're like forward thinking right now. So we'll keep up these talks.
thank you so much. I can't
Thank
wait, and I just
you.
feel all of us gathering more in person, and hopefully, honey, we will pull something together for everybody
Yes.
soon about that.
Yeah,
And then we have some other things coming up that we'll share about too soon. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so fun. The future is fun. So we'll all look forward to that.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much for
everybody.
having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks for
you.
coming, Mia. Bye, everybody.